You've seen the headlines, right? Billions and billions of dollars in foreign aid being sent to developing countries. But have you ever just stopped and wondered, does any of it actually work? It's this huge, really controversial question, and today we're going to follow the evidence and see if we can finally get a clear answer.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the deep end. The World Bank commissioned this poll, and it found something, well, kind of shocking. In sub-Saharan Africa, a whopping 84% of opinion makers, we're talking about the actual people on the ground, government officials, academics, journalists, they believe that foreign aid is mostly wasted. And get this isn't some critique from outsiders. This is coming from inside the house.
So that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, with that much doubt from people on the inside, we've got to ask, are they right? Is it all just a waste? Let's start digging for some clues.
So, our investigation starts with our very first clue, and it's this powerful idea called the good governance theory. And the idea is pretty simple. Maybe the problem isn't the aid itself, but the environment it's landing in.
For years, this whole debate was totally stuck. You had one side shouting, aid always works, just send more of it. And you had the other side shouting back, aid never works, we should just cut it off completely. But then a third group came along with this really smart, game-changing idea. What if the answer isn't always or never? What if it's conditional?
And when you think about it, this it depends theory just makes a lot of sense. Imagine foreign aid is like a seed. You could have the best, most high-quality seed in the entire world, but if you try to plant it in barren soil, a place with a ton of corruption or just really bad economic policies, that seed is not going to grow. The soil matters just as much as the seed.
And here it is. Here's the proof. This landmark study from the World Bank tells such a clear story. So look at those blue bars. Those are countries with what the study calls bad policies. You can give them more and more aid, but their economic growth barely moves. It's almost flat. But now look at the yellow bars. These are countries with good policies. All of a sudden, as the aid comes in, their growth shoots up. This was it. This was the smoking gun. Aid can work, and work really well, but only if the conditions are right.
Okay, so this is some really powerful evidence. But did it actually change anything? Did the people giving the money change their behavior? Let's see how this one big idea started to completely reshape how foreign aid was given out.
If you look back to the 1980s, during the Cold War, a lot of foreign aid was just a political tool. You gave money to your allies, and you didn't ask a whole lot of questions about their internal policies. But by the 90s, the evidence was just piling up that that approach wasn't working. So donors started to get a lot smarter. They started being more selective.
And you can literally see this change happen right here. Look at the chart on the left from the 1980s. That line is basically flat. It means there was no connection between how well governed a country was and how much aid it got. But now, look over to the right, to the 1990s. See that? The line is clearly pointing up. And the takeaway is unmistakable. Countries with better rule of law, with better governance, started getting more money. Donors were finally starting to plant their seeds in more fertile soil.
But, just targeting the right countries was only the first piece of the puzzle. The next huge breakthrough wasn't just about where the money was going, it was also about how it was being given. And that is our second big clue.
This led to this really cool new model called results-based aid, or RBA. See, the old way was to pay for inputs right at the start, things like buying textbooks or shipping medicine. RBA completely flips that around. Instead, you only pay for verified outcomes, things like actually seeing literacy rates go up or proving more kids got vaccinated.
To make it even simpler, think about it like this. Old-school, conventional aid is like giving a student money to buy textbooks and just hoping that they study. Results-based aid is like telling that same student, hey, I'll pay you, but only after you get an A on the final exam. You see the difference? It shifts the entire focus from just funding activities to actually rewarding success.
So does this new model actually work any better in the real world? Well, it just so happened that a perfect natural experiment popped up in El Salvador. They were rolling out this big health reform. But here's the cool part. They funded it in different ways. Some communities got the conventional pay-for-inputs aid, while others got this new results-based model that was tied to specific health targets.
And the results? Wow, they were just night and day. In the places that got conventional aid, health services improved by about 20%. I mean, that's not bad. But in the places that used the results-based model, services jumped by 42%.
Let's just be super clear about what that means. Just by changing how the money was paid out, by tying it directly to results, They more than doubled how effective the aid was. It turns out, creating the right incentives can lead to dramatically better performance.
So, after decades of arguing and billions of dollars spent, the evidence has led us to two really powerful clues. Now it's time to put them together and finally get a clear answer to our big question.
And here it is, the recipe for effective aid. It really comes down to two things. Step one is the where. Send aid to countries with good governance where it can actually grow. And step two is the how. Design the programs to pay for real, measurable results, not just for good intentions. You see, the debate is no longer about if aid works. The evidence is pretty clear that it's all about when and how.
And that brings us to one last, really important question. We have the evidence, we know the recipe, we know how to make aid work so much better. The challenge isn't about what we know anymore, it's about what we're willing to do. So, if we know what works, the real question is, what's it going to take for the world to actually do it everywhere?